JBN, we keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, Zika Mafia killed in alleged confrontation with police. A man identified by police only as Zika Mafia was killed during an alleged shootout with the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Special Operations Team on Tuesday night in Portmore Lane, St. Catherine. The police say it was a reported violence producer in the Portmore Lane area. Following an upsurge of violence, with saw at least 7 people shot in the municipality since Friday, the police team was on patrol in an unmarked vehicle when men were seen reportedly acting suspiciously. The police requested a search, but Zika Mafia ran and the chase ensued. Zika Mafia reportedly fired at the police who returned fire, hitting him. The police say a 9mm pistol was taken from his person. 2 more one-done gangsters found guilty, another freed. Verdicts continue to flow fast and furious in the ongoing one-done gang trial, with the accused Lamar Simpson and Tyreek James, self-acclaimed construction worker and shop attendant, respectively, being the latest to be found guilty. Meanwhile, Higler Donovan Richards was the latest to be freed. Chief Justice Brian Sachs handed down the verdicts on Thursday morning. The 3 had remained on trial on count 2 of the 25-count indictment brought by the Crown, which charged them with membership of a criminal organization. The count is the latest been assessed by the trial judge. Simpson, who said he was a construction worker, had told the court that his moniker Sickhead was earned because of his football prowess. Simpson, who said he was no top-tier member, said he was hearing up that role for the first time over the course of the trial and described himself as a law-abiding citizen who have never owned or held a gun. "Me no done for no community. Me's a man who have to stand up for my family," Simpson said tremulously, while begging the judge to be merciful and find him not guilty as he was worried about the welfare of his family. Meanwhile, James, who said he was employed to a wholesale at the front of Jones Avenue, declared that he had never laid eyes on the alleged leader of the gang until he began building a studio in the area. "Me never seen the man before, never even talked to him. This is all a surprise to me," he said at the time, while telling the judge that his boombox in his cell constantly blares lyrics which say, "All I want is my jeans and all I want is my freedom," adding that he didn't even know a quarter of his co-accused. Richards, in an unsworn statement, told the court he was a higgler who was preoccupied with his mother's health problems, his business, and taking care of his 3 children. "I'm not in any gang or involved in any criminal organization," he said. Upon releasing Richards, the trial judge said there was no evidence of the allegations against him. Man shot in front primary school in Kingston. Frantic parents scrambled to collect their children after a man was shot in front of the Holy Rosary Primary School on Gibbs Avenue in East Kingston. The incident happened after 10 this morning, just meters away from the school. The corporate communications unit confirmed the incident, but said they had no further details. It is unclear if the man had succumbed to his injuries. The school reportedly contacted parents to collect their children due to the incident. Teachers want government not to take protests lightly, as educators across the island maintain their protest against the wage offers being made by the government as part of the restructuring of the public sector compensation packages. The disgruntled teachers have indicated that the island will continue to see more people exit in the profession if their concerns are not prioritized. For a 3rd consecutive day, classes were disrupted at several schools on Wednesday as teaching staff staged sickouts or sit-ins. According to reports, only 5 of the 48 teachers at Winston Jones High School in Manchester showed up for school. At the New Forest High School, also in Manchester, all classes were affected, and students had to be monitored by the vice principal and the dean of discipline as the teachers protested. A number of students at the Mandeville Primary School were seen walking home early, as only 29% of the teaching staff turned up for classes, according to Principal Howard Salmon. Past Jamaica Teachers Association JTA President Jasford Gabriel, who said he fully understands the actions of teachers, indicated that the government could see a significant breakdown in the education sector if teachers remain unhappy with wage talks. "There's a wave of discontent across the country. I am seeing 2 different sets of responses from the teachers. Almost all of our teachers are trained teachers in the system, and one response is for teachers to leave the country and find a place where their services are better appreciated and remuneration is better," said Gabriel, who is also principal of the Manchester High School. Gabriel underscored the importance of having teachers leaving the negotiation table satisfied so the country does not continue to grapple with a shortage of qualified, highly experienced educators. "It is incumbent upon the powers that be to ensure that coming out of this restructuring exercise, our teachers feel better appreciated for the invaluable service they would have been offering to this nation, he stressed. He added that this is a matter of urgency, as his institution is among a number of schools now struggling to fill vacancies. It is the first in my long tenure here at Manchester High School that I'm advertising for teachers in areas that we would normally need to advertise for, and yet we cannot find persons to fill the vacancies. When you're losing teachers with 20 and 25 years of experience, you don't replace that in a short time, said Gabriel. Shooter charged with murder and illegal possession of firearm. A 26-year-old man has been charged with murder, illegal possession of firearm and illegal possession of ammunition after being captured during a police operation on Chambers Lane, St. Catherine on Thursday, March 2. Charges Kino Bloomfield, otherwise called Dutch, Daddy Earth or Shooter, of Toast Meadows in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. He was featured in the Jamaica Constabulary Force's Wanted Wednesday campaign. It is alleged that about 9:45 p.m. on August 24, 2022, Bloomfield shot and killed 57-year-old Higgler Garfield Barnes in the Spanish Town bus terminal. Barnes died while being treated at hospital. Bloomfield has been on the run since the incident. However, following several intelligence-led operations, the police were able to close in on his whereabouts. He was charged following an interview. Police report increase in migrant criminals to Manchester. The Manchester police have indicated that there have been an increase in migrant criminals committing offences in the parish, with one of the latest incidents being a breaking onto Larston Woodlawn Drive, Mandeville on Thursday, March 2. Charged with housebreaking onto larceny is 31-year-old Jermaine Ellis of Rocky Point in Clarendon. Reports are that about 8 p.m., a woman went to her premises and discovered that it was broken into. Checks were made and 4 tires and rims were missing from her vehicle. She reportedly alerted the police. Whilst awaiting the police team, a Toyota Axle motor car entered the premises. The occupants of that vehicle fled upon seeing the lawmen. One of the men, Ellis, was accosted. One 100-pound gas cylinder was also found on the back seat of the motor car. The vehicle was subsequently seized. Meanwhile, the detectives are appealing to anyone with information that can assist the police in their investigations to apprehend Ellis's accomplice, are asked to contact the Mandeville Police at 876-962-2832, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. For charge for robbing woman of items valued $100,000. 4 men were charged with robbery with aggravation and receiving stolen property following an incident on Upper Elliston Road in Kingston on Tuesday, February 28. Charged are 24-year-old Dwayne McIntosh, otherwise called Deco, a labourer of Bustamante Highway, Kingston 13, 29-year-old O'Shane Reed of Carliston Place, Cumberland in St. Catherine, 19-year-old Giovanni Green, otherwise called Jaheen, a Higgler of Mark Lane in Kingston, and a 17-year-old boy of Greater Portmore, St. Catherine. Reports from the Elliston Road Police are that about 10:40 p.m., a woman was walking on the road when she was pounced upon by occupants in a motor vehicle. 2 men alighted from the vehicle and proceeded to rob her for her personal property. A report was made to the police and an investigation launched. About 11:30 p.m., lawmen intercepted the same vehicle with the 4 accused aboard. The vehicle was searched and the complainant's properties were reportedly found. The properties have an estimated value of $100,000. McIntosh, Reed, Green and the teenage boy were charged on Monday, March 6. Clark says more than half of non-recurrent expenses go into public sector compensation. More than half of government's $657.2 billion allocation for non-debt recurrent expenditure will go towards the compensation of public sector employees as the administration forges ahead with its wage restructuring program. Finance and the Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, in opening the 2022-23 budget debate Tuesday, said compensation of employees accounts for $367.4 billion, or 56% of the non-debt recurrent expenditure. In this budget, we have $32.8 billion to meet the estimated second-year costs of the new compensation system, $6.5 billion to public sector health insurance, and $1.4 billion for the governmental waste of the National Housing Trust, NHT, he said. The 2023-24 $1 trillion budget also outlines capital expenditure of $65.4 billion, $280.6 billion for debt servicing, and below-the-line expenditure of $8.4 billion. In terms of the recurrent programs, Dr. Clark said $289.8 billion has been set aside for this. with the Ministry of Finance to receive $42 billion for a public sector pension and $3.1 billion to support local authorities or street lights. We have $4.7 billion for the maintenance of roads, repairs to roads, and $1.2 billion for bridge development and construction, $7 billion for supporting the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, and $142.9 billion for the Ministry of Education, which represents 22% of non-debt expenditure. Of this amount, $9.3 billion is for school nutrition support and $15 billion for the University of the West Indies and the University of Technology, he said. The Finance Minister further announced that the Ministry of Labour and Social Security has been allotted $8.4 billion for the Programme of Advancement through Health and Education Path beneficiaries, and this reflects the 18% increase approved by Cabinet. In addition, he said the Ministry of Health and Wellness will be given $14.7 billion for drugs and medical supplies and $10 billion for the University Hospital of the West Indies. Further, the Ministry of National Security will be allotted $59 billion for the police, $32 billion for the Jamaica Defence Force, $11 billion for the Department of Correctional Services, and $2 billion for the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency. Turning to capital expenditure, Dr. Clark noted that this is programmed at $75.4 billion, and the main programs include $22.1 billion for the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, $7.2 billion for the Montego Bay Perimeter Road Project, and a combined $7 billion for the Ministry of Agriculture towards the Southern Plains Agriculture Development Project and the Essex Valley Irrigation Infrastructure Development Program. He noted as well that $1.9 billion has been set aside to procure 50 more garbage trucks for the National Solid Waste Management Authority. We are spending money to expand the hospital and clinic network in the country. $2.7 billion for the Spanish Town Hospital, $2 billion to commence Phase 3 works at the Corner Regional Hospital, and $530 million for the redevelopment and modernization of the University Hospital, Dr. Clark said. The Finance Minister also noted that there is an $8 billion capital expenditure for projects to get approved throughout the year. The new budget followed a record number of supplementary estimates tabled in the House of Representatives in any one fiscal year, 4 in all, which were primarily driven by the need for funds to complete spending on the second year of a 3-year public sector restructuring program. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.